Hello everyone, and welcome back to HTML and CSS lessons on Codecademy. So last time we started looking at the CSS and everything connected with it in quite a bit more detail. Today we will be doing the same thing. So CSS syntax is different from the HTML you're used to, but don't worry, it's easy to pick up. The general format looks like this. So you have whatever you're selecting, whatever you want to change the properties of. For example, the paragraph tag, you would put P there. Then you have an opening and a closing curly bracket, and in between you have the property that you want to change, such as the color, and then the value, so whatever you want to change it to, such as red. A selector can be any HTML element, such as P, IMG, or table. You just take off the brackets, I guess. Oh yeah, because in the actual tag you have the brackets, but you just take out the brackets and put the body in, for example, if you wanted to change all of the text in the body. So to make a paragraph text red with CSS, you would type something like this, which is what I was describing without even seeing that. Wow, okay. A property is an aspect of a selector. For instance, you can change the font family, color, and font size of the text on your web pages, in addition to many more. A value is a possible setting for a property. Color can be red, blue, black, or almost any color. Font family can be a whole bunch of different fonts, and so on. So you need to end each property value with a semicolon, even if it's just one. That's how CSS knows you're done with one pair and ready for the next. I might forget that. I usually forget it for some reason, but you guys should try not to forget it. Yeah. Okay, so time for you to write some CSS all on your own. Okay, so we have nothing in here. In the stylesheet.css tab, make the font color of the P selector green. Oops, that's O. I don't think that O does anything. Here we go. And make the color, and the fact that color is spelled like that is going to confuse me, but okay. Check the hint if you need help. So as you can see, it's all green now. And good, we are done. Nothing is changed in the index.html, but because we have it linked to our CSS file, which you can check out how to do in the last video, we know that our P should be green. Our text in our paragraph tag should be green. So moving on. One selector, many properties. Great work. Another cool advantage of CSS is that you can set many properties for one selector. For instance, if you want to set a paragraph's font, font color, and font size at the same time, you can simply write that. So changing the font family, color, and font size to Arial, blue, and 24 pixels respectively. So remember, end each property value pair with a semicolon. And also please note, if you have adjusted your browser's zoom, tests involving font size and height will not work correctly. So to remedy this, please type that if you really wanted to, and I'm not going to because I think I'm fine. I think I'm on 100% size. But ignoring that, underneath your color green property value pair, but before the final closing curly bracket, set the font family to Garamond and the font size to 24 pixels. Sure. I did that correctly. And now it's spelled with a capital letter. Previously it wasn't for some reason. And don't forget the PX if you're doing pixels. Actually, don't know if it's going to work without them. It does work without them. I don't know why they're needed then. Okay, let's see. So as you can see, we changed the color to green, like previously, changed the font to Garmond, and the size to 24 pixels. And that's the full size of the web page if you had it. So let's move on. Many selectors, many properties. Good work. They say that practice makes perfect, so let's do a couple more. We'll talk even more about selectors in the next course. So make all the H3 headings red. Okay. Those are our tasks, so we don't need any real instructions. All of them red color, red, semicolon. Set all the paragraphs to the Courier font family. Oh, so we're still talking about the H3 tag. Sure. Font family. Did I spell that correctly? I think I did. Yep, okay. The second paragraph contains text between the span tags. Set the background color of that span to yellow. Oh, just to that span. Let's find that span. Second paragraph. That's the second paragraph, so these. And we need to change the background color to equal yellow. And that did not work. Or at least I don't think it did. Let's check out the hint. Oh, does it really want us to do it like that though? Because it's talking about specifically that. I thought it wanted us to do it in here. Maybe not. I will just go back and put it on here. Let's see if that works. So span and change background color. And that is not how you spell color. To yellow. Is that going to do it? No. And I did misspell that, or did I? To font family Courier. Yes, I did actually. I did do that. Oh, paragraph, not those. Fair enough. And this is troubleshooting in programming, everyone. It does sometimes get annoying, but it's usually the most important part in programming. Let's see if that is satisfactory. Yes, it is. So it just wanted us to make a separate thing in our style sheet for span. It didn't want us to make it specifically for this span. Fair enough. So let's move on. The importance of semicolons. As you start adding more and more property value pairs for each CSS selector, it's important to remember to put a semicolon at the end of each line. So the semicolon tells CSS that one property value pair is over and it's time to move on to the next one. Without semicolons, it'll become confused and your page won't look right. Also, don't forget all property value pairs for a selector are surrounded by curly braces, or brackets as I like to call them. I don't know the difference, but that's not what's it called, appropriate for this, or connected to this in that much of a way. The CSS in stylesheet.css is broken. Okay, that is bad. Some of the curly braces are out of whack and semicolons are missing. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, fix this CSS. No, I don't accept it. Oh, come on. Okay, we need semicolons. That's the wrong kind of brace. Those are the wrong kind of brackets as well. And that is spelled incorrectly. Send submit. Okay, or that might have been spelled correctly. I don't know. But yeah, that was quite simple. You just needed to put the semicolons on and change this curly bracket and this curly bracket, I believe. So just remember that you should use the correct syntax for things. That usually isn't the most complicated part. It's usually what you do with the code, but it can be sometimes confusing. So moving on, color commentary. Okay, great, you're really getting the hang of this. While it's important to get all your syntax down correctly, it's also a good idea to write comments as you go along. So good comments will help you remind you why you did something a certain way. So in case you changed what the attributes of a certain span to be different from what you put in your style sheet, it could be good to put a comment there so that you know why you did it like that and not just left it get its properties from the style sheet. So, or will help someone else out if they're reading your code without you there to explain it. So if you're working in a massive company that makes websites for a living, then you would probably want to do that, because otherwise if somebody looks at your code and sees something that doesn't really make sense, they will, and you're not there to help them why that's there, to tell them why that's there, then they'll be confused and probably won't hire you again, because it's not a really good way of doing it. So as you've seen, HTML comments look like this. And CSS comments, on the other hand, look like this, which you will probably run into this a lot more if you're programming in different languages. This is slightly confusing for me, but it doesn't really matter. It's easy to remember, so yeah. Remember, the computer doesn't look at comments when figuring out what your HTML and CSS should do. It simply just skips it. But writing good comments is a good habit you want to pick up. So see the CSS we've added for the P selector in style sheet, comment it out. That is, put the blah blah blah. Okay, let's just do that then. So let's tell it what it does. Okay, so that does not actually count as a comment. Good to know. This is the way I want to do it. Yep, that's just what I'm going to put for now. The paragraph is still red. What does it want us to do? Make sure you comment out. Oh, it wants us... Right. Okay, I did not read that part. It just wants us to comment it out. So because it's ignored now, it's going to work. So this isn't read by anything. So let's move on. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. You've learned a lot in just a few short lessons. We're impressed. Let's quickly review to make sure you really know your stuff. So let's go step by step then. Add a link to your stylesheet.css between your head tags. Sure. Link. There was rel, I believe. There was also href. I don't think it matters which order you put them in, so that's what I'm going to say. I know href is supposed to be stylesheet.css, and I do not remember any of the other things for that. Okay, I will come back in a second once I figure. So I found the tag. You need to have type, you need to have rel, and you need to have href. Type and rel always have the same attributes, well, for what it concerns for now anyway, and href depends on whatever your file is called, and in this case, because it's called stylesheet, it's stylesheet in here. So that's step 1 done. Then what we need to do is change the h1 headers font family to Verdana. Okay, I'm guessing that's done in CSS, which is why I'm going to do it in CSS. And we need to change the font family to Verdana and not forget the semicolon. Good. Step 3, change the h3 tag. Okay, we know that we need to do it in CSS. To courier. So change the font family to courier. Let's just copy that over. Remember that indentation doesn't really matter with this, but you should try to keep it neat so that it's more easily readable or readable, whatever the word is. Change me to courier. Okay, make the paragraph text color purple. Is that a color that you can actually choose? That's cool. And I just deleted the curly brace, whatever, I'm going to add it later on. Color is purple, semicolon, closing bracket, and add a CSS comment. This is a comment because we don't really need to say anything for now. Save and submit, and oops, did you remember to make your h3 font family courier? Oh yeah, right, it's not Verdana. And that is not how you spell courier either. Well, it is how you spell it, but not without capitalization. There we go. So I think that if you misspell it, it might work, or maybe not. It is not going to work in this case. Okay, so sometimes it might work, but then if you make some other error, it's not going to work. And let's just make sure that that is actually correct now that I changed it. Nope, I forgot the O. There we go. Save and submit, and we are done. So that's today's lesson, guys. If you have any questions, as I've said many times before in a lot of lessons, do feel free to ask in the comments down below. I will make sure to answer your question as soon as possible. But other than that, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share and subscribe. If you didn't like it, give it a dislike and tell me what you didn't like about this video so that I can improve for next time. But until that next time, thank you guys so much for watching.